The 2017 Power Rangers movie was pretty good. After the disappointing reception to Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, there wouldn't be a Power Rangers movie until 20 years later with this film, just titled Power Rangers, now referred to as Power Rangers 2017. This is the first film not only produced by Saban and Lionsgate, but also the first to have no connection to the show. No actors, no Sentai footage, nothing. It was a straight up reimagining of the original show. With that said, I was really excited to see this movie. I love Power Rangers, and if this was their chance to get back into the mainstream, I was all for it. And the reception to the movie was meh. For most people who watched it, they said it was a little boring. It didn't have the cheesy 90s charm from the original show, and it was a little gritty and modernized. There is also a problem regarding the fight scenes, which I will discuss in this review. Is it a good movie though? Let's see. I'm Rocko from Reamlore, and let's dive in. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to like and subscribe. We upload videos just like this one on our Reamlore channel. Subscribing is completely free and you can always change your mind. Make sure to hit that bell too so you get notified when we upload. Subscribing is completely free and it doesn't cost you anything. Our opening scene is cool because it's Zordon as the Red Ranger after a battle where his team was killed. He puts the 5 power coins in the ground saying seek out those who are worthy. Turns out Rita was doing all of this as the Green Ranger, saying she wants the Zeo Crystal but an asteroid hits them both, separating them. This then transitions to the worst scene of the entire movie and contender for the worst scene in all of Power Rangers. Because we meet one of our Rangers, Jason, and this is a terrible introduction to the character and the movie. Decree Montgomery plays Jason. He is a TV and movie actor who I know as Billy from Stranger Things. The reason this is awful is because Jason and his jerk friend are putting a cow in their rival school's locker room, because that's their mascot. They leave the cow, but as it turns out the friend milked the cow. But the cow was not a girl. If you know, you can figure out the rest. I mean it when I say this, I would have preferred a terrible fart joke. This is how you introduce your Red Ranger and main character? With an animal abuse scene that doesn't belong in any movie, let alone Power Rangers? This whole scene shouldn't have left the idea board. Actually, it never should have been on the board. Anyways, the cops show up to arrest them as they drive a truck into downtown and crash the car. And we get the logo, Power Rangers. Here's a better idea of how this could have started. Jason took the mascot costume from the other school and threw it in his car. He drives away but crashes into oncoming traffic, hurting a lot of people. You'd get the same effect only without the awful animal abuse and contender for worst joke in all of Power Rangers. 3 weeks later, Jason's dad, played by David Denman, who played Roy from The Office, is arguing with Jason because he has to go to Saturday school because he was an idiot. Jason goes to detention and saves a kid from getting picked on. This is really where the movie should have started, or rather introduced our Red Ranger, because here Jason is quippy, funny, and noble, standing up to a bully, slapping him around. Despite the bad introduction, Decree Montgomery is great at playing Jason. His kindness, his courage, everything is on point for the character. Also, if you're wondering, no, Bulk and Skull are not in this. It's kind of weird they would take them out. I get this is supposed to be more mature, but you could have made them the bullies picking on kids and got the same effect. We soon meet Kimberly, played by Naomi Scott, who after getting unfriended by her jerk friends cuts out her hair to get a bad girl haircut. I like this version of Kimberly. We'll get to know her more as the movie goes on, but she plays this role to perfection. Kind of an update on the popular Valley Girl trope. After detention, the kid Jason saved follows him and says they should hang out. This is Billy, played by RJ Cyler. This guy just nails Billy as the socially awkward genius who has trouble making friends or communicating. And his relationship with the popular jock Jason is one of the movie's strongest points. Billy says he needs some help with something and Jason agrees to help, especially since he doesn't have much left to lose. That car accident destroyed his leg and he can't play football, meaning his college dreams are done, which is shocking because he was a star player everyone in town knew. Billy and Jason go on a road trip to the gold mines where Billy says his dad brought him here all the time before he died and he wants to make his dad proud. Jason's had enough with this adventure though when Billy starts talking about blowing stuff up. Jason, before he leaves, hears some music and sees Kimberly nearby diving into water. They talk and Kimberly admits this small town has caused her so much grief and Jason feels the same way, even suggesting they take Billy's minivan, and Kimberly actually thinks about it. Billy meanwhile blows up the quarry. Yeah, just like Jason, I thought he was kidding. Another guy shows up and asks Billy why did he just do that as Jason, Kimberly, and another girl we've seen shows up. Then the wall falls down and surprise surprise, it's the power coins encased in glass. They each get one but they need to run. They all escape in the minivan but get hit by a train when the power coins activate and save them. We'll talk about this later, but this is where they should have morphed for the first time. Jason and the other Rangers wake up back in their homes and find the power coins with them. They were teleported. Everyone also seems much stronger than they were were before, and they can't get rid of the coins, appearing wherever they go. Jason, Billy, and Kimberly decide to go back to the mines, and they bump into the guy from last night, Zack, played by Ludi Lin, who I know as Liu Kang from the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie. This is a little different take on Zack, as instead of being the life of a party, super fun-loving guy, Zack here is still the fun-loving guy, but more of a daredevil or thrill seeker. The other girl is also there, but runs off as Zack chases after her. They all run to an opening in the ground while Kimberly talks to the girl in a deleted scene that really should have stayed in. This is Trini, as you figured out, and we'll talk about the deleted stuff later. She's played by Becky G, a singer and actress with a ton of song hits and awards, and was also the voice for Kaji Da in Blue Beetle. This is a good time to tell you that these 5 characters have really good chemistry. I enjoy seeing these characters talk, and I totally buy their growing friendship. In some superhero teams, when the chemistry isn't there, it makes the series less enjoyable. Billy finds an air pocket at the bottom floor. They fall through the physics-defying pool before they find a spaceship. The door opens and we meet Alpha 5, played by Bill Hader. He's an actor and comedian who also starred in It Chapter 2. I really like Alpha's new design. The glowing eyes with the smaller body, and the character is pretty spot on for what Alpha is. They all turn around to see the movie version of the power chamber, which looks amazing. Alpha tells them all to step into the footprints, which they do, and it revives Zordon, who is played by Bryan Cranston. That is probably the best casting choice of the entire film. Bryan Cranston just understands the fundamental qualities of this character. His kindness, his humility, and even his slight arrogance. In this version, instead of being stuck in a time warp like the show, his consciousness was transferred to the ship. Zordon can't believe the coins chose a bunch of teenagers, but the morphing grid is never wrong, and these 5 are the Power Rangers. 65 million years ago, Zordon's team died defending the Zeo Crystal, and it's their turn to save it. The Rangers don't believe him, but he shows them a future of what will happen if the Zeo Crystal gets destroyed in a pretty horrific scene. Zordon says Rita will create Goldar, a monster who will rip the Zeo Crystal from Earth. Alpha says that they have 11 days until Rita shows up. We also saw a scene of Rita washing up on shore, but the Rangers just want to leave. Zordon holds back Jason and tells him the morphing grid chose him to be the Red Ranger just like him, and that Rita was a Ranger too, the Green Ranger, but she betrayed them for the promise of more power. Jason convenes with everyone, and this is where we meet Trini in the final cut. Jason says that while they don't know each other at all, they found these coins. Jason says the answer to what's happened to them is in that ship and that they need to return. Tomorrow he will be back, and they can come along if they want. One thing about this movie I don't like is that it's so freaking dark. Not that it's a dark story, I mean the lighting. It is so dark I can't see anything. It legitimately looks pitch black a lot of the time. I know I've said this before, too often fight scenes happen during the day in Power Rangers, but no one in this universe pays the electric bill. We get a few scenes with the Rangers' personal lives. A scene with Zack and his mom where it's revealed she is suffering from a sickness. In addition, we get a scene where Trini is struggling to connect with her family, who seem super normal but also stressed out about their daughter. With Jason, his dad brought the truck he crashed back. Jason asks if this is to remind him of his screw-up, but his dad says he brought it back in case Jason wanted to fix it. It's a great bit of visual storytelling. The movie's showing us Jason is ready to fix his mistakes. Rita, meanwhile, is digging through the trash after she killed some cops and is determined to find gold. I mean, how would you feel after being dead for 65 million years? The next day, Jason is joined by all of the other Rangers as they enter the power chamber. They stand at the pedestal and it looks like they are about to morph and get their armor, but at the last minute it doesn't work. And here is the problem I've been building up to. The biggest problem with this movie is the same as the Turbo movie. It takes 90 minutes for them to finally morph and be Power Rangers. And when they do morph, they have a 3-minute fight scene as Rangers, and the rest of the battle is with CGI Zords that lasts about 25 minutes. Just for reference, a normal 20-minute episode of the Power Rangers show would have one unmorphed fight, 1 or 2 morphed fights, and a Zord battle at the end, taking up more than half the runtime. This is way too long without a fight scene or Ranger powers. Now I get it, the story is about them learning to be a team and earn the power, but it takes way too long and it replicates the Turbo movie's issue from 20 years ago. Even when we did get action scenes, they were only after we reached an hour. I didn't really mind this when I saw the movie initially because I liked the characters and the writing so much. I enjoyed learning more about them, but even I had to admit, it's too long without the Power Rangers. That's why we're all here to see the Power Rangers. How could you fix this? First, have a fight scene at the start where Rita destroys the Eltar Power Rangers instead of just seeing them at the end of the battle. Next, have the team morph at the 20 or 30 minute mark instead of 90 minutes. And finally, have the big problem for them is that they can't use the Zords. That can be the justification for the 11-day time crunch, because even as Rangers, they can't beat Goldar without the Zords. That way you can have the Rangers battle some of Rita's monsters and defend the town between scenes of them bonding. Everything else about this movie is almost perfect. If they had figured out a way to integrate more fight scenes into this, then this movie would have been been a masterpiece. Anyway, Zordon says they'll have to train without the armor, and Alpha starts training them to fight Rita's putties. I do like the putties in this one, although I would have preferred suits for better fight scenes. We get a pretty cool montage of the Rangers training together with Alpha, learning moves, interacting with each other, telling jokes, bonding, and just having fun. This is why I like this movie. It is fun. They keep trying to morph but fail as Alpha teaches them how to do a Brock Lesnar suplex, and they decide they should form a band. Billy during this montage also starts taking notes of the Zeo Crystal and creates an elaborate map of Angel Grove. He figures out where the crystal is. Krispy Kreme. Yes, I am serious, and this only gets more ridiculous. Rita, meanwhile, has been killing people and taking gold, so she has been dubbed the Gold Killer. Alpha gives the Rangers a little moral boost, showing off the Zords. The Zords look okay. I like the colors being the primary color of the Rangers, but they are a bit over-designed and have way too much gray in the color scheme. I get they're supposed to be machines, but really? Zack has no interest in waiting as he takes the Mastodon Zord for a joyride and almost kills a bunch of people before crashing it back into the cave. May I ask why this scene of Zack taking the Zord for a joyride exists? It looks like it cost a lot of money to animate that. Money that could have gone into a fight scene, so why? I know it was to get Zack and Jason into a fist fight, but there were definitely cheaper ways to do that. Billy breaks it up by morphing, but he demorphs and Zordon tells them to get out. Because if there is one constant between the TV show and the movies, it's that Zordon is always mad at people for breaking his stuff. Jason stays, however, as he overhears Zordon saying that Jason's team isn't ready, that he needs to get out and face Rita himself. Alpha says the only way to revive him is for the team to morph and open up the grid, so he's stuck. That actually is something from the show. The Rangers have revived before with the power of the morphing grid, although there were drawbacks that don't apply here. Jason is angry because he realized Zordon just wanted to come back, not turn them into Rangers. Rita, meanwhile, goes into a jewelry store looking crazy, saying she needs gold for her staff, and she starts eating the gold and repairing her staff. Rita here is played by Elizabeth Banks. She is a phenomenal actress and director, who directed the 2019 Charlie's Angels featuring Naomi Scott, as well as Cocaine Bear, believe it or not. Now, while this is a very different Rita, Banks just understands what the assignment is. She is so over the top and fun, it's everything Rita was in the show. Plus, making her the former Green Ranger just adds so much more to her character. The Rangers decide to set up camp near the rocks and Jason joins them. Jason asks what they think when they are trying to morph, and Zack says maybe the problem is because they don't know each other that well. Zack tells them about himself and says that his mom is sick. He does what he can, but he's scared she'll move on. But he is thankful he's been able to spend time with his friends. Billy goes next and says he doesn't miss his dad as much now. When he travels to the mountains with the other Rangers, he doesn't feel sad. And he also admits that he blew up his lunchbox. That's why he was in detention. Kimberly is about to go but steps out while Jason says they already know. Everyone knows. The golden boy who screwed up big time. Trini finally opens up to them, saying she's been to 3 schools in 3 years, but she likes it. That's because her parents don't have to worry about her girlfriend troubles. She admits that her family want her to act a certain way, to be a perfect normal daughter, and that she's scared to tell them she likes girls. Billy says that it's cool, she's with friends, but she questions that. When this is all over, are they even going to interact with each other? This is such a good scene. This is what had been missing from Power Rangers since Saban took the brand in 2011. The characters are having this emotional, vulnerable bonding moment, where they admit their faults and everybody does what's in character for them. This is why I like this movie, because even though there is very little action, the character work is so strong. Definitely the strongest out of all the Power Ranger movies. After everyone went home, Rita found Trini and attacked her, while bragging about how she loved killing the former Yellow Ranger. Rita is just playing around here, but she also says she was an outsider on Zordon's team, and that tomorrow she will destroy Angel Grove. Rita tells Trini meet her at the docks later and tell her where the Zeo Crystal is. Jason gets a visitor as well as Kimberly climbs into his bedroom. She told Jason and the others the reason she was in detention was because she punched her ex-boyfriend in the face. But that wasn't the whole truth. Kimberly punched her ex-boyfriend in the face because Kimberly sent him a crude photo of one of her friends saying she was awful. A photo her friend sent her privately. The ex-boyfriend blabbed about this and Kimberly was forced to face the consequences for her actions. Kimberly didn't realize how awful she was and how much she hated herself. That's why she was willing to leave with Jason that night. Jason tells Kimberly she needs to live with it. She did an awful thing, but that doesn't make her an awful person. Just be the person you want to be. Something else weird about this movie, they were heavily hinting at a romance between Kimberly and Jason, having multiple romantic scenes together and even kissing in the trailer, but they cut it out. The reason apparently was because test audiences said it focused too much on the romance instead of the redemption of Kimberly, so they went with that route. But I argue having both wouldn't hurt the story. Speaking of which, there was about 15 minutes cut from the film. This happens a lot with movies, and I'll admit a good chunk was rightfully cut out. Most of it was scenes rehashing things we already knew or jokes that didn't work. Plus, if they did stay in, we'd have to wait even longer for the actual Power Rangers to show up in their own movie. The problem is I feel like some of this should have stayed in. Scenes developing the friendship between Kimberly and Trini, the romance between Kimberly and Jason, more scenes with Jason and his father, and all of that rounds up to about 5 extra minutes, which wouldn't change that much when it comes to runtime. In hindsight, it is a bummer. I'm a sucker for romance and I would have liked to see them get together, but what can you do? Trini gathers everyone at the school to tell them about Rita. Jason thinks they should go fight Rita, but everyone is concerned since they're not Power Rangers, and that they need to go back to Zordon. Jason tells them they were never going to be Rangers. Zordon just needed them to bring him back to life. Jason says even though he hates this awful town, he won't stand by and let it die, and asks who is going with them, and everyone agrees. And it goes about as well as you think. Rita is way too powerful for them. She beats them instantly in the movie's first fight an hour and 20 minutes in and ties them to the boat. I mean, it's not like Power Rangers was known for fighting, right? I guess the Rita-Trini interaction earlier was a fight, but that was more Rita attacking Trini, not really a fight. Rita mocks them as she tells them the plan, to kill them all until they tell her where the Zeo crystal is, all while having the time of her life. Rita is about to kill Zack when Billy tells her where the crystal is, at Krispy Kreme. The source of life is at the donut shop, of course, and Rita drowns Billy before she leaves. Billy unfortunately dies and Zordon can't do anything for him. Jason apologizes for failing them, that he screwed up again, but they all say they agreed. They failed as a team. Jason then says he would trade his life for Billy in an instant, and everyone agrees they would do the same in a heartbeat. That no matter what's happened, being a team and being friends is the only thing that matters. At that very moment, the morphing grid opens up for the first time and allows Zordon to step through. But he doesn't go anywhere, as he explains only one could come back. Zordon sacrificed his one chance to come back to life to revive Billy, who is alive again. Zordon says there can only be one Red Ranger, and Jason is the one to lead his team, and man does this get me in the feels. The Rangers step up to the pedestal again, and this time they finally morph, while Jason says it's morphin' time. It's a cool sequence as the armor forms around them. I do like the suits they used. I know they look computer generated, but they were legit suits, and when they are allowed to fight, it looks great. They're a bit over-designed, but it keeps the primary colors, and they aren't too different from the show. Rita, meanwhile, has made it to the gold mine and summons her putties and her minion Goldar. Now, in the show, Goldar was her best warrior with a cool design, and while he did fail a lot, he had so much charm with his voice and design, always giving 100% even when he lost. So it is a little disappointing this version is nothing, just a hunk of gold with a decent design. The putties drive into the cave, and we finally get the Rangers fighting the putties, and surprise, surprise, it's awesome. I mean, the Rangers pose, they crack jokes, they flip, they do karate moves, they smash putties to bits, Jason summons the power sword, it's all super cool. My only complaint is that this is when they should have hit the Mighty Morphing theme song. They play it later for like 10 seconds when the Zords rush to Angel Grove, but why not during the first fight scene with the Ranger suits? They play it later for like 10 seconds when the Zords rush to Angel Grove, but why not play it during this scene, the first Ranger fight scene? Anyways, the Rangers deal with the putties and go into their Zords. Something I do like about this Zord battle, aside from it being really well done, is the fact it's not taking place in a big city, but rather a small town. I'm so used to big robot fights happening in the city, so seeing one in a small town is a new visual. And it's easier to believe the majority of people in Angel Grove survived since there aren't that many people around. Plus, what I said about the very first Power Rangers movie applies here. We get to see the individual Zords battle before forming the Megazord. It's really well done. I mean, they are blasting and smashing all the putties before tackling Goldar, and Kimberly accidentally throws putty on the mean girl's car. It goes bad though, as Rita found Krispy Kreme and enjoys a donut. Krispy Kreme must have given this movie so much money. While the Rangers try to stop Goldar, Jason's dad is racing downtown trying to find his son. The Rangers gang up on Goldar, but it's not working as Jason's dad crashes his truck. Jason sees this, rushes to save him, and pulls him out of the car. Goldar smashes the ground and finds the crystal, so the Rangers form a line to stop him from getting closer. They can't hold him back though, as Goldar starts pushing the Rangers back into the fiery pit to kill them. The Rangers think they're finished as Goldar pushes them into the pit, but then they merge together to form the Megazord. While I agree it looks cool and I'm happy to see it, it has the same problems as the Zords. It is way over designed and there is so much gray. The thing about Power Rangers is that they're colorful. This is still awesome though, as the Megazord and Goldar square off, while Rita merges with Goldar to give him more power. The Megazord gains the upper hand as Goldar summons his sword to stab them, but they do the Brock Lesnar suplex they learned in the pit to ground Goldar as Jason brings out the power swords, and they stab Goldar, defeating him. Rita pops out defeated and says that the Power Rangers haven't won. Others will come for the Zeo Crystal and they'll be defeated, but Jason says it doesn't matter who shows up. They will defeat them. Rita says no matter what Zordon says, she is worthy before they slap her away into space. A nice callback to when Jason slapped a bully at the start. The townspeople of Angel Grove pop out to look at the Rangers, including one Tommy and Kimberly from the show. Yes, Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnston are in the crowd for a blink and you'll miss it cameo, both of whom were the green and pink Rangers from the first Mighty Morphing. It's great to see them on the big screen again, even though I would have liked some interaction with the Rangers. The people all cheer as they take photos of the Megazord that Billy makes dance. Jason goes back to Zordon and says the Rangers will be back when they need him. And I wish Zordon had an ending scene with everybody, but what can you do? We see Jason's dad is proud of his son inadvertently. There's a nice callback to the Yellow Ranger being a guy in the Sentai. Kimberly is proud to have new friends. Zach is hanging out with his mom again. And Billy is happy to have friends as they spend time in detention together. Zordon says they did what his team couldn't and he owes a debt of gratitude to them, as the detention teacher says there is a new student joining them, Tommy Oliver, bringing the film to a close. When all was said and done, this grossed over $142 million worldwide on a $100 million budget. So it made its money back, but it was disappointing for the studio. This was a good movie, it just had a lot of flaws. Mainly the fact there was one Ranger fight before a lengthy Zord battle. So what about a sequel? It made its money back, plus it did amazing for merchandising, breaking records everywhere, and that's what really matters to Saban. It's why the Transformers movies keep getting made, regardless if they're good films or bad films. They did have a sequel planned out with plans to bring in Tommy and Lord Zed, plus a following 5 more movies. That was until Hasbro bought Power Rangers from Saban, which put a damper on the plans. In 2018, Hasbro announced plans to produce a Power Rangers movie that would be a sequel, but Decree Montgomery revealed the studio also had plans to produce another movie, but without him and the rest of the cast. It could still happen, but given it's been 8 years, it's not likely in the cards, which is a shame. I think this movie had a great cast and good writing. It's just they made the wrong decisions regarding fights. But for this movie, you could argue this is the best out of the 3 we got, depending on what you're looking for. And I hope the fans and Hasbro see how great this is too. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.